Welcome back to another Scotsland history, and I want to take you to quite possibly Glasgow's most important and holy place. This church? No, not at all. Let's go for a walk down Buchanan Street and I'll show you exactly where it is. Glasgow is celebrating its 850th year this year, but do people know about the beginnings of the city and where it all started? Let me show you this place. Welcome to St Enoch Square. What? How can this place be a holy place? I hear you cry. Well, ladies and gentlemen, today we stand in the heart of Glasgow, surrounded by the hustle and bustle of modern life. But if we pause for just a moment and listen closely, we might hear echoes of the past, of a place that has transformed time and time again. This is the story of St Enoch Square, a space that has witnessed the rise and fall of great institutions, the movement of countless people, and the evolution of a city that never stands still. I have recently spoken about the story of St Thenew, or as she's known, St Enoch, the mother of St Mungo, Glasgow's patron saint. If you haven't seen that video, be sure to have a look at the top right hand corner of your screen right now. Legend has it that this very ground may have once been a sacred final resting place for her and linked to the early Christian roots of our city. Though no physical trace remains, the square still carries her name, a silent tribute to a time long past. St Enoch Square, as its more basic form, arrived sometime around the late 18th century, and with its surrounding buildings of grandeur, it could be seen it was a meeting square for the surrounding residents. And this map from John MacArthur around the 1770s has the square, but it doesn't appear to be much else going on along the adjacent roads and streets, including its main street, Argyle Street. In the early 1800s, there appeared to be a lot more movement of expansion, and this map in 1807 from Peter Fleming shows more progress and the addition of a church, and this is on the site of what would or might have been on a chapel for which St Enoch or St Thenew is buried. So the mother of Glasgow's patron saint, and more on how on my visit to a second most holy place in Glasgow, Glasgow Cathedral, with the tomb of St Mungo, so be sure to check out that video on the top right hand of your screen right about now. But we continue on. There's other pictures I've spotted that show the church and its surrounding that date to the late 1790s, and in one you can see the big old townhouses of Carrollton Place on the other side of the Clyde, and again, if you know my channel, I've shown a bit of the turmoil that place has been in of recent years, with abandonment, drug dens, and fire ripping the insides out of it to what was once a beautiful interiors and exterior of the building. The church was demolished in 1925 and a bus station was built along with a car park. It's hard to believe that where I stand was a big bus station and car parking area. Around this time, a small fire station was put in place as a substation to deal with things when the main stations could send people out. As I say, the place never stood still, and always evolving and meeting with people's needs. And in 1870, the St Enoch Railway and one of its most stunning buildings, St Enoch Hotel, was built. For years, the station serves as a gateway, connecting Glasgow to the rest of the country. Imagine the scene, steam engines hissing and chuffing and passengers hurrying to catch the trains. And when it was wet, you didn't have to go very far, from getting off the train to being in a grand and comfy environment relaxing after a day's travelling. So Enoch Square becomes not just a place to pass through, but a place of movement, connection and adventure. The hotel stood for around 100 years. This photo shows it all laid out with the hotel, the station, the church and the ticket office of the underground, opened in 1896. All seen here from a photo in the early 20th century. I do wonder, however, that a transport link that many Glaswegians take for granted, what work and design had to be done to achieve this, with stations and lines and lots of construction. I feel that this may be the beginning of the loss of some of Glasgow's great architecture, and no less the St Enoch Hotel, which as you can see was incredibly impressive and very domineering on its skyline. It had 200 bedrooms, and actually, fun fact, it was the first building in Glasgow to be lit by electricity. A short walk around the side of the current building onto Howard Street, I thought I would add in a small note about this Category B listed building. Now, it's owned by Slater's Menswear Company and hosts many other businesses within. This building was built by Henry E. Clifford in 1902 for the Glasgow and South West Railway Company, whose headquarters were at the nearby St Enoch railway station. It reportedly took over 15 to 20,000 passengers a day in the 1960s. And once again, like I've reported before from the secret railway station, the West End of Glasgow video I did, Dr. Beeching was to blame for cuts and destruction to the railways. And his cuts and contracts ended this once great line. Glasgow Central became the primary station for going across the border and put even more pressure on these services and lines. 10 years later, and the whole of the square was revamped, either for the better or for the worse, with demolition and the foundations being laid for the new venture. And what you have now is what you see with a great glass pyramid covered shopping mall or retail centre opened in 1989. The railway station, once so vital, begins to fade in importance, and in 1966 it closed its doors. By 1977, both the station and the hotel are gone. They're just mere photographs, stories, people telling you about these places. That's all that's left. Yet, Glasgow is a city of reinvention, where trains once roared and platforms stretched. A new chapter has begun. In 1989, the ribbon was cut on the St Enoch Centre pyramid being officially opened. A modern shopping centre or mall breathing new life into the square. The underground St Enoch subway station, which first opened in 1896, remains standing and again carries thousands of passengers a day on commuting and going about their daily business on the famous Clockwork Orange. And so here we are in the 21st century, in a square that continues to evolve. Today it is a space of commerce, of community, of celebration, of coffee drinking and pastries out in the square itself. It hosts Christmas markets, fun fairs, moments of everyday life. Though the landscape has changed, the spirit of St Enoch Square endures, a place shaped by the people who passed through it, over it, and even under it, and it's Glasgow's resilience and its ever-changing identity. It's worth noting that the St Enoch shopping centre is actually now due to be demolished in about 20 years' time, and in place it will be modern living and shopping requirements, with some for students and others. But is this the right decision? Will it cost more than the council can afford and deal with for surrounding businesses and residents? And will the new people that move in realise they are possibly living one of, if not the holiest places in Glasgow and where it all began, with St Thenew's burial? So if you're ever visiting, or next time you walk through the square, take a moment to stop and look around. Within the modern shops and subway stations, echoes of history remain. St Enoch Square is more than just a location on a map. It's a living, breathing story of Glasgow itself. Thank you for watching, and until next time, remember to hit that like button, leave me a comment, maybe consider subscribing. And here's to the next adventure, guys. Cheerio. Bye bye.